Hi, Sharon. Nice to have you here today. How are you?
Hi, Sean. How are you? No, I'm good. Yeah, really good. We
I'm
haven't
good
spoken.
too. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking your time today to chat to me about your experiences in success without sacrifice. Do you want to share a little bit about where you are and what you do?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a physiotherapist in Brisbane, Australia, and I run a clinic that specialises in hypermobility and Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
Yes. Nice, a great niche and much needed, as we've talked about a lot in the past. So, do you want to share a little bit about where you were at when we met and you started thinking about joining the program?
Yeah, so I think it must have been around a year ago that I was thinking about joining and did sign up. And I was just a little bit stuck without a mentor to sort of help me know how far I could take the business. So I'd opened the business maybe a year and a half before, and things
Yep.
had grown really quickly. But then I wasn't, it was a bit like a runaway train, and I wasn't entirely sure where I wanted to take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at that point, you were inside another facility as well. When torn, a big thing we spoke about was like, when do I move? Should I move? When do I move? How do I do that?
Yeah.
That was a big thing we spoke about as well. And we'll
Yeah.
touch on that a little bit more. So, do you want to share a little bit about what led you to make the decision to work with me?
Um, I I liked the some of the ethos that you were talking about balancing work with family. I've always found that struggle. I've got two girls
Mm.
who are now 15 and 12, who are both a little bit high needs, let's
Yeah.
say. And I've always struggled with finding that work-life balance
Yeah.
and never really ever wanted the responsibility of my own practice. I've been out of physio 25 years. I just didn't want it. I was like, I'm not a business owner. I'm never going to be doing that. Um, oh, now I've forgotten what the question was. What was the question?
What was it that you're talking about and what it was that made you
Yeah.
use this program?
Yes. Yeah. So I looked around on a few different forums, and I just liked some of the stuff you were saying, and we had one a little chat together, and I got a lot out of it, and I liked the idea of it being a small group.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have time. Some of the other mentoring projects I looked at required a massive time commitment
Yeah.
of sometimes up to a whole weekend every month.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't do that.
No,
So I
mums,
like,
that's tricky, right?
yeah. So I like the sort of idea of doing the hour a week to start with, plus having a little bit of homework and some other resources that I could build on.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And so, at the time, you were in another space, and one of the big
yeah,
things that we worked on over that period, and one of the biggest changes from then to now, is that you now have your own practice in your own space. Do you want to share a bit about that journey and where you are
yes,
now?
yeah. So um, my business was inside another practice's location, which was um, a fine place to be, but it was
Squeezy.
getting squeezy. It was getting squeezy,
Yeah.
and to the point that I couldn't really expand anymore. And my business has been growing about 30% year on year. So you really helped me put my big pants on. I think you actually told me to put my big girl
I
pants on
did
it.
at one time.
And within, and in June, I actually moved into my own custom built, custom fit out space
Yeah.
with 6 private treatment rooms
Not
and a
three.
gym, not three. So originally I was like, I only need 2 or 3. Um, I initially fitted 4 rooms out.
Yeah.
Since then, I've needed to fit the other 2 out
Yeah.
because I'm taken on enough physios to have 5 at a time at sometimes.
Yeah.
And then the other room has become a private exercise room because the gym was getting too busy and the physios wanted a backup space. So yeah.
And I think that the reason I joked about that 3 for people watching is because
Yeah.
I talk a lot about what you believe to be possible and what I know is possible with 2 totally different things. And you were like, I can't imagine that we'll ever need more than 3 in the next couple of years. And I was like, Sharon, you're going to need 6. Go for 6. And
Yeah.
what are you not even 6 months into practice and using all 6 And I knew
Yes.
that this would be where you'd get to. And I didn't want you to be like,
Yes.
I've just spent all this money on a fit out and now it's just.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So no, it's been great. And the clients love it.
Yeah.
It's a very modern, airy setup.
Yeah.
And the staff are really happy. We've got a staff room, and there's often lots of joking and laughing happening every day. So yes, yeah, it's great. Really happy. Walk in there, and sometimes I'm walking down the hallway, and I just go, "Oh, I made this. This is amazing."
Yeah.
So, and
sorry,
yeah, yeah, and so we had to move a little bit further out of the city, but we've got good access to transport and parking, and everyone's pretty much happy to come. So it doesn't seem to be a factor that I was a bit worried about, that people might not want to travel.
Yeah. And obviously, like, taking on your own building space and the cost of a fit out would be, unnerving. And I know I was like, you've got this, Sharon. What has the impact been on your revenue to make you feel much more comfortable about having made that investment?
Yeah, so I mean, revenue's definitely up.
Yeah.
Because I've managed to add 2 full-time staff members.
Yeah.
And so I'm not exactly sure what it's up by, but basically it's enough to pay all my expenses and pay the mortgage. So at the end of the day, even if we don't have, we're still getting some processes streamlined, but in the end of the day, we'll own the building, or the space, I mean. And so I think that will be a good nest egg for us in retirement.
I think you mentioned this when we were chatting before, that you did in a week what used to be more than what used to be your best ever 2-week period.
Yeah, we're moving towards that. Absolutely.
Yes. And in a year, essentially, that's sort of on track to see you at least have a 50% growth, if not more.
Yeah, at least 30 for this financial year, and then again another 25 to 30 for the one after, I think.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And that's a sign of all your hard work. So you just talked a bit about that work-life balance, and obviously opening a new clinic and all the fit out and getting all the team on board. Like I remember you saying there's still a lot of sacrifice going on, and I'm like, well, I'm not a magician, and if we, this is going to be a season. But can you see a bit more of the light at the end of the tunnel of things easing for you now? I know you mentioned you've got a practice manager in place.
Yeah, I have got a practice manager. The reception team seems relatively stable now. And the physios are happy. I think there's always going to be things that get thrown in your path.
Business, right?
It's a business. But yes, I definitely see, and I think I'm just happier because I can make my own decisions.
Yeah.
So if I see a policy that isn't working, or the physio say it's not working, the receptionist say it's not working, then I go, right, sit down with my practice manager, we have a meeting and we nut out how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Then we write it up, and then we tell everyone, we put it in our procedures folder, and then we move on to the next thing. So I can deal with it. And sometimes it is annoying, because sometimes you have to spend more money on it, or you need more staff hours, or the physios need more breaks, or it doesn't always affect the bottom line in a positive way right then, but long term it will. Yeah. So I'm happy to invest money now if that means in the future things stay, it stays a nice place to work.
One of my clients said to me this last week, retention is the new recruitment. And I think that it kind of sums it up. It is. And those changes that maybe don't add to your bottom line immediately, but continue this, keep your team stable. Yeah. They're massive in the long-term profitability of the business.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So staff retention is, and avoiding staff burnout, I think, are two of the biggest challenges we have in health at the moment, because there's not enough people to deliver all the health. So we don't want to burn people out. So that's my goal. I'm not sure how we're going, but I do have a little bit of a can-do attitude. So I was talking to a staff member yesterday, and I was like, "Girl, we're just going to do that next year. We're going to do that next year. Let's just, and certainly I've got lots of other stuff to keep me going, because now it's like, well, that one's full. What do I do next?" And
Yeah.
And hubby's not overly excited about
I don't know, he's over the first one yet.
a multinational chain. So I'm going to focus more on my teaching and things like that. So yeah.
So what would you say to someone who's thinking about joining the program or working with?
Look, I think that it is very personal. So although there is a program to work through, the camaraderie that I have with the women who are on the course, we still keep in touch. And I think that's just really nice for people to be in a safe environment to openly discuss how they do things, because in the business world, it's a little lonely and everyone's got their special little secrets, and they don't want anyone else to know, in case that means that their secrets are taken by other people. And I think that sort of facilitation of the process, even though sometimes, because my situation was I wasn't really needing to do marketing to get more clients.
Yeah.
So that part of the course I didn't use as much at the moment as some of the others. But I still found it really interesting. And I still use the same principles. So when I was going to have an opening party, I used the same principles of using the touch point and making a postcard. And I have my list, my 200 lists, and I have, that's all there. So I just
process, so that if you ever have a team member where for some reason or you bring two on and you're like, wow, I need to fill them up quicker than normal. It's a process to lean back on, and it's there if you need it.
And in particular, as staff sort of change what they want to do, then we can look for different caseloads, because I think you always talked about who's your ideal client. I think different members of the team have different ideal clients.
Yes, they do.
And so if I
even
can
in
help
a niche, they have slightly different ideal clients.
So I've got a few niches starting at the moment. So if I can give them some ideal clients, then they'll be much happier.
Which builds into that retention being the recruitment, because they're happier.
Yeah, exactly. So
And I was going to ask you what the thing that most surprised you about the program. Would you say it was that camaraderie or something else?
I just was surprised what I could achieve.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, because when we wrote the goals down, they were so
massive.
No, they were tiny. My goal was to maybe think about what I'm going to do with the business sometime in the next 3 years.
When you said that to me, I'm like, well, I'm just going to go along with this, but this is absolutely going to be in the next 12 months.
And you're sitting there going, yeah. So although it was very stressful and a very stressful time, in the end, I think it's the best for my family. And so that's why I had to do it.
And I think the thing that I found with you was you were so burnt out from this when you joined the program, and whilst it got more stressful,
it's just a little bit, oh my god,
get more stressful, but I knew for you that you were it was a season that was going to give you more control and ease, and that if you didn't do anything, you were just going to be you were going to be just as burnt out, if not more burnt out, but and not having made any change, which was why I'm like, come on, the space came up and I'm like, right, Sharon, we're doing this. And that was when I said, put your big girl pants on, we're getting this place. And to see, I think the shift that happened was that there was a lot going on, but you seemed calmer in yourself because it was lots of things you could control. Exciting, rather than just feeling like looking down a black hole.
Yeah, it was actually pretty fun because I got to do a lot of shopping.
Cushions and colour pans.
and pictures and choosing towels. And I mean, it was all very stressful at the time, but it's nice to see how it all came together.
So anything you want to add to anybody thinking about working with me or about the program?
I think it is a bit of a financial outlay. But I definitely feel like I got my money's worth out of it, and it's given me a little bit of a mindset. So I've been having a few hiccups with a couple of procedures at the moment, and I just thought, well, what would Sharon say to me? She'd say, get your big pants on, do something about it. you're in charge, you've got to do it. And so that's, I think, what you've taught me.
Yeah.
At first I was a little bit scared to not have you there all the time, and because I did continue after the program for a few months with the mentoring, but I think I've got enough of your little voice in the back of my head now to say, come on.
Yeah. And that transition from
going.
being the lead clinician to actually stepping into being CEO was what I was gently pushing you towards. And it's so nice to see you blossom into that and be like, well, as a CEO, what should I do about this?
Yeah, what should I do about this? Yeah. So, yeah. So hopefully, you know, we've only been open 4 months. So give us a year or two under our belt and I'm sure things will be
in multiples. Just putting it out there.
Will be running much more smoothly.
Yes, they will. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to share your experiences with me. I really appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Sharon, and thanks for all your help.
Thank you.